Hidden among the high rock outcrops of central Turkey sits Yazilukeya. More than 3,000 years ago, the Hittite Empire used this open-air sanctuary as the staging ground for their massive spring festivals. For the Hittites, even the most powerful deities lived under the shadow of potential defeat and death. Every year, the community gathered here to perform rituals designed to stabilize a world that felt constantly on the verge of slipping away. The carved deities lining these sanctuary walls represent a cosmic order born of profound betrayal and blood. These rituals were the Hittites' defense against a collapse back into the violent chaos of the universe's primeval origins. Their records describe a primordial king named Alalu, who ruled the heavens for 9 years before being violently overthrown by his own cupbearer, Anu. Betrayal became the standard for divine succession. Exactly 9 years later, Anu faced a rebellion from his own servant, a deity named Kumarbi. As Anu tried to escape into the sky, Kumarbi dragged him back down and violently bit off his genitals. Before fleeing, Anu delivered a parting curse. By swallowing his master's manhood, Kumarbi had unknowingly impregnated himself with the instruments of his own destruction. Kumarbi was now incubating 3 fearsome deities inside his body, including the future king of the gods, the storm god, Teshub. In this cosmos, power seized through betrayal literally plants the seeds for the next catastrophic rebellion. Teshub's entry into the world mirrored the violence of his conception. Unable to be born naturally, he forced his way out by bursting forth from Kumarbi's split skull. Teshub quickly seized the heavenly throne, forcing the deposed Kumarbi to retreat into the shadows of the underworld to scheme. Unable to win a direct fight against the heavens, Kumarbi pivoted to a new strategy, breeding monsters specifically designed to dismantle the divine order. He mated with the daughter of the sea god to produce Hedamu, a voracious sea monster whose sole purpose was to consume everything in its path. The emergence of Hedamu raises the stakes from a political dispute over a throne to an existential crisis for the entire world. As the monster ravages the coastlines, the god of wisdom, Ea, interrupts the conflict to deliver a warning to his fellow deities. Ea argues that if humanity is destroyed, the gods will face their own annihilation. Human sacrifices, bread, and incense act as a literal battery for the divine realm. Without these human offerings to sustain them, the gods will starve. Teshub's challenge is no longer just about defeating a monster, it is about protecting the fragile human ecosystem that keeps the gods alive. Kumarbi's final and most desperate plot involved impregnating a massive cliff face to birth Ulakumi, a blind, deaf monster made of solid stone. To hide the giant from Teshub's sight, Kumarbi placed him in the underworld, resting on the shoulders of Upaluri, a being who supports the weight of the entire earth. Ulikumi grew with terrifying speed. Within days, the featureless stone pillar pierces the heavens, blocking the gods inside their own temples. Teshub attacks with lightning and torrential storms, but his elemental weapons prove useless against unfeeling, unthinking stone. To end the siege, Ea leads a journey into the deep underworld to retrieve a forgotten primordial copper saw. This was the same tool used to separate heaven and earth at the dawn of time, and it was the only object capable of severing the stone giant from its foundation. This struggle proved that raw elemental power was insufficient to save the world. Preserving order required ancient wisdom and a mastery of the universe's original architecture. Once cut from its source of power, the stone giant was easily shattered, allowing Teshub to finally end Kumarbi's rebellion and secure the throne. For the Hittites, maintaining the cosmos was a perpetual struggle that required the constant, symbiotic participation of mankind. This Anatolian epic traveled far beyond central Turkey, carried across the Mediterranean by ancient traders. The narrative beats mirrored Greek mythology. Uranus is overthrown by Cronus, who swallows his children until Zeus emerges to seize control of the cosmos. These violent epics carved into the rocks of Yazilikaya are the foundational blueprints of Western antiquity. The city of Kiskilusa is tearing itself apart, The storm god, Tarhuna, is locked in a brutal, close-quarters brawl with a massive, multi-headed serpent known as Ilyanka. This is a stone relief carving of Tarhuna. For the Hittite Empire, he was the supreme head of the pantheon, the weather god who wielded thunder and rain to keep the agricultural economy alive. But in this fight, the supreme god loses. Ilyanka overpowers Tarhuna, tearing out the god's heart and his eyes, plunging him into absolute darkness. Without the storm god's power to summon rain and warmth, the world freezes. A sterile, endless winter takes over, and the crops begin to die. Divine strength failed. To save the cosmos from starving, the gods have to abandon honorable combat and descend into the messy, vulnerable world of human trickery. The plan begins with Tarhuna's daughter, the goddess Inara. She prepares a massive, intoxicating banquet, placing vats of alcohol right outside the serpent's subterranean lair. But she needs a mortal to spring the trap. She approaches a human named Hypatia. He agrees to help, but only after demanding and receiving physical intimacy with the goddess as his payment. The bait works. Ilyanka and his brood emerge to gorge on the feast. They drink until completely bloated, slipping into a heavy, incapacitated stupor. Hypatia steps out of the shadows. Moving quickly among the sleeping monsters, he ties them down, securing thick ropes around their heavy coils. Divine victory here relies on degrading earthly bargains, forcing the gods to trade in the same base currency as their human subjects to keep the plan moving. While Inara sets her trap, the blinded storm god is running a second parallel operation. He marries a poor mortal woman and fathers a human son, creating the ultimate sleeper agent. As the boy grows, he travels to the serpent's territory and marries Ilyanka's daughter, officially infiltrating the monster's family. Hittite custom requires a bridal dowry. The son uses his new position as a son-in-law to make a very specific demand. He asks for his father's stolen, still beating heart and seeing eyes. The timing is exact. Down in the underworld, the son secures the stolen organs at the exact moment Hypatia's ropes snap taut around the drunken serpents on the surface. The organs are returned to Tarhuna. He absorbs them, and his full power reignites in a blinding flash of light and thunder. Cosmic restoration is a meticulously engineered operation, dependent on mortal risk and divine coordination to piece the world back together. Fully restored, Tarhuna descends from the sky to the sea. He finds Ilyanka and his brood, found and helpless, ready to be slaughtered, but his half-mortal son stands in the way. Under strict Hittite laws of kinship, the son is now bound to his new serpent bride, forcing him to defend his father-in-law. Knowing the rules cannot be broken, the son looks up at the storm god and shouts, "Include me, have no pity on me." Tarhuna does not hesitate. He strikes with lethal force, annihilating the chaos monster and executing his own son in the same blast. The victory is absolute, but the cost is brutal. To bring life back to the earth, the storm god had to wipe out his own bloodline. With the serpent dead, the endless winter breaks. Warmth returns, rain falls, and spring aggressively reclaims the land. We know this story from artifacts like this ancient clay tablet, detailing the Peruli festival, a massive ritual where priests recited this epic. These texts were literal instruction manuals for maintaining the universe. If not spoken perfectly, the seasons might not change. This long horizontal stone relief carving shows the procession of 12 male deities, the Hittite kings invoked during ceremonies, traveling to secure the harvest. The Hittite arrival of spring was a brutal, hard-won triumph over chaos, requiring blood and constant ritual vigilance to secure the survival of the land.